Hi students. So as per the online class schedule, today's topic is about lichens, their reproduction and the significance of the lichens. So today we are going to see the structure of the lichens, the reproductive methods of the lichens and their significance in different fields. So let us move on into the topic that is about the lichens. First of all, so what are the contents you are going to see through this lesson? They are, first we are going to introduce the lichens, and then we are going to see the structure of lichens, and we are going to see about the forms of lichens, how many types of lichens are there, and then we are going to see about the classification of lichens, and then we are going to know about the species and the common naming of lichens, and then the vegetative reproduction, asexual and sexual reproduction of lichens, and then lastly about the economic importance of lichens. These are all the topics we are going to see today through this class. So coming into the introduction, lichens belong to the order Lichenoralis and the kingdom fungi, and the genus name is lichens. So as we all already previously discussed in the class, you all know the lichen is made up of two parts, one fungal part, and half of the part is made up of fungi and another half of the part is made up of algae. So algal part of the lichen, it is called as the phycobiont or photobiont, and the fungal part of the lichen, it is called as the mycobiont. So algae are generally they belongs to chlorophyta and cyanobacteria, means the algal part in lichens belongs either to chlorophyta or cyanobacteria. Chlorophyta means green algae, cyanobacteria means blue-green algae, that you already know. So the intimate association of fungi and algae, it is called as lichen, means lichen is made up of half part fungi and half of the part is algae. So normally lichens grow on the bark of the trees, the leaves, or on the mosses, and sometimes on the rocks also, in between the rock crevices also. The fungus component is called as mycobiont. Why? Because the study of fungi, that is known as the mycology. So based on that, the fungal participant in the lichen, it is called as mycobiont, and algal component is called as photobiont. Why? Because algae normally performs photosynthesis, so that is why the part is photobiont, the photosynthetic organism algae. So based on that, the part of the lichen which performs the photosynthesis, that is known as the photobiont, which is obviously the algal part. So that's the introduction part. Means in lichen there are going to be two parts, one algal part, that is the photobiont or phycobiont, and the fungal part, it is known as the mycobiont. So fungal part depends on the algal part and algal part depends on the fungal part, means both are interdependent on each other, mutually interdependent on each other. Such type of relation, it is called as symbiosis, which you already know. So symbiotic type of association is seen between the algal component and the fungal component in the lichens. So coming to the structure of the lichens, see, you are seeing here the structure of lichens. So here you are seeing the four layers: upper cortex layer, algal layer, and the medulla, and the lower cortex. So this is the rhizine, means special root-like structures. So upper cortex is the uppermost part of the lichen. So here actually the branched hyphae will be there, fungi will be there, and the branched hyphae, they are intermingled with each other. So this is the upper part. It acts actually like the cuticle. There is the uppermost layer and it offers protection to the whole structure of the lichen. And below the upper cortex, so here there is the algal layer. The name itself is saying in this layer the algae resides. The photobiont or the phycobiont, it resides here. And then below the means in the algal layer, algae are present, completely algae are present. And below that there is a central part of the lichen which is known as the medulla, which is a conductory region, conducting region of the lichen. See here, all the interwovenly means interconnected branches or hyphae are present here. So through this conduction is happening in the lichen body. So here this is the last part, that is the lower cortex. Because it is present on the lower side, it is known as the lower cortex. So here it is present on the upper side, that is why it is known as the upper cortex. So here in the lower cortex also intertwined threads or hyphae-like structures are present, and rhizine, they are the specialized root-like structures which are mainly meant for the anchoring and absorption for the lichen body. So here again the explanation about the lichen body, just as we have discussed now. The lichen body is called vegetative part of the lichen body. It is called as the thallus. Just like how the algal body is called as the thallus, the body of the algae it is called as thallus, right? So in the same manner here also the vegetative part of the lichen body it is called as thallus. So thallus is having how many layers? Just now we have seen that upper cortex, algal zone, medulla and lower cortex. So upper cortex it is a protective skin and it is made up of the fungal elements. So upper cortex is present on the top layer and algal zone below the upper cortex it is the algal zone. So here the algae are enclosed along with the fungal tissues, and medulla central part and it is the main part of the thallus, conducting cells are present, and the lower cortex is the last region of the lichen. So it is also made up of the compactly arranged hyphae. Hyphae means branches. So these are all the 4 important layers in the structure of the lichen. So now this is the internal structure of the thallus. So previously we have seen the external structure of the lichen: upper cortex, algal layer, medulla, lower cortex, rhizinae. So all these are the external parts of the thallus, and see here this is the internal structure of the thallus. Internal structure of the thallus, here you are going to see the hymenium, which is the uppermost layer, and the subhymenium, that is the layer present below the hymenium, and then the third one is medulla, and the fourth one is pseudocortex. So these are all the layers present in the internal structure, and apothecia are the fruiting bodies which are developing on the lichens. So see the you are able to see the images of the lichens, right? So these are all the 4 types of lichens. Okay, crustose lichens which are developing on the rocks, and this is foliose lichens, means the lichen surface and the thallus, the body of the lichen is just in the form of a leaf which is having dorsal surface and ventral surface, and this is like intertwined thread. That is slender hyphae or slender branches are intertwined in this structure. So 4 types of lichens are present in lichens, means in lichens 4 forms are there. So let us see in detail. So students, see the images here. This is the crustose lichen image, and this is the squamulose lichen, and this is the foliose lichen, and this is the fruticose lichen. So now one by one we will see about the lichens, types of lichens. So this is about the fruticose lichens. So here you are seeing the images, branches, it's seen like branched lichen, and strap shaped or ribbon like or thread like thallus is present, and it will be the upright thallus or it will be hanging thallus. So example of the fruticose lichens are cladonia and usnea. Second type of lichens are foliose lichens. They are leaf like and they are having dorsal and ventral surfaces. Just they are having how the leaf lobes are present. So here the thallus lobes are leaf like structures, and they are having upper and lower surfaces. Example, Parmelia. The best example of this foliose lichens are Parmelia, and the leaf like lobes are attached to the substrate. And the next type of lichens is crustose lichens, and they generally appear among the rock crevices or on the surface of the rocks. So these lichens, they are flattened structure and they are scale like, and they are not having any lobes. They are not having even lower surface also, and they are tightly they are attached to the substratum, rock substratum. Example, graphics. So next one example is graphene, and the next one is thallus morphology, means here squamulose lichens. So fourth type of lichens, squamulose. These are intermediate between foliose lichens and crustose lichens, means foliose lichens are leaf like lichens and crustose lichens are scale like, right? So here the form is between leaf and scale. Lobes are there, but they are not as clear as the foliose lichens. Here the lobes are smaller. Okay, so that's about the squamulose lichens. So here the 4 forms of lichens are present like this. And then coming to the classification of lichens. So based on the fungal part of the lichens are broadly classified into 2 types: ascolichens and basidiolichens. Means if the fungal part, that is the mycobiont in the lichen, belongs to the ascolichens, means if the fungal fruiting body is that of the ascocarp, so such lichen is known as the ascolichen. Means if the fungal component belongs to Ascomycota subclass, so those type of lichens are known as ascolichens. So majority of the lichens here belongs to the ascolichens group, and then fruiting body is ascocarp. And some of the lichens their fungal part belongs to Basidiomycota, and those lichens are called as Basidiolichens. So totally 20,000 known species are there in lichens. So common names of lichens are commonly known as reindeer moss and Iceland moss. Okay, reindeer moss and Iceland moss. So that's about the brief classification. Asco lichens and Basidiolichens based on the fungal part of the lichens. Means if Mycobiont belongs to Ascomycota subgroup of the fungi, then those lichens are known as Ascolichens. If the Mycobiont belongs to Basidiomycota of the fungi, so those type of groups are known as Basidiolichens. So here the fruiting body of Basidiolichens is basidiocarp, just like that of the Agaricus, which you already know. And now coming into the reproduction of the lichens. So here there are three types of reproduction we can see in lichens: vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. So vegetative reproduction, it normally happens by fragmentation during favorable conditions. Fragmentation means it happens in foliose and fruticose lichens, and fragmentation means you already know, means the thallus cuts into small fragments and each fragment will develop into an individual new thallus. So it is known as the fragmentation. So normally fragmentation happens in foliose and fruticose lichens. Okay, and then during mechanical stress, or if the cell die, then that thallus breaks up into small fragments and each fragment again develops into a new thallus. So that is known as the vegetative reproduction, which normally happens in majority of the lichens. And then some specialized vegetative reproductive structures are present in lichens. So one by one we will see that. What are those specialized reproductive structures which are meant for the vegetative reproduction? Isidia, one of them is known as the Isidia. Isidia are the specialized vegetative reproductive structures. They are developed on the upper surface of the thallus. So they are small projections, small papilla-like outgrowths. They are protuberances or papilla-like outgrowths which develop on the upper surface of the thallus, and it is each Isidium composed of algal components and fungal component. And when these papilla-like outgrowths, when they separate from the body of the lichen, from each Isidia a new lichen will develop. So these are known as the Isidia. So example is Parmelia. So in Parmelia, Isidia are present. Next, coming to the next type of vegetative reproductive structures, they are known as the Soredia. Soredia are also small bud-like projections, bud-like outgrowths. So they are also formed on the outer surface of the thallus. So Soredia are also composed of algal cells and fungal cells. So see here, your white surface or white spots are seen here, right? So these white areas are Soredia. So when these Soredia separates, so from each Soredia develop into a individual lichen thallus, new fresh lichen thallus. So that is about the Isidia and Soredia. So in this slide only, Isidia here see in this image, white structure in the upper image. So that is known as Isidia, small papilla-like growths. Okay. So this is about the Isidia and Soredia, which are the specialized reproductive structures which we can see in the lichens. So this is the vegetative reproduction, another slide, and showing the another image. So here you can see the Isidia and also the Soredia. So Isidia are papilla-like outgrowths and Soredia are also the protuberances. Small papilla-like outgrowths are protuberances. So now coming to another type of vegetative reproduction, which happens by Cephalodia. These are also the vegetative reproductive structures, and they are gall-like structures, mean round small ball-like or tumor-like structures, which are the external growths. Normally we can find these Cephalodia on the external surface of the thallus. Okay, and they are dark in color. They are also consisting of fungal hyphae and enclosed in the algal hyphae. Means here you can observe one point: in all these vegetative reproductive structures like Isidia, Cephalodia, so Soredia, in all these algal part also present and fungal part also present. Algal cells are also present and fungal cells are also present. So here coming into the asexual and sexual reproduction. So vegetative reproduction happens by Soredia, Isidia and Cephalodia, right? So coming into the asexual and sexual reproduction happens by pycnidiospores, which are specialized spores and formed in special flask-shaped structures. They are known as the pycnidia. So in the flask-shaped structures known as pycnidia, pycnidiospores are present. When these pycnidiospores are liberated outside, each pycnidiospore germinates into a new lichen thallus. And oidea means the thallus, when it breaks into fragments, those fragments are sometimes known as oidea, and each oidea gives rise to a new separate thallus. So that is also coming under asexual reproduction. So conidia are also the asexual reproductive structures. So asexual reproduction in lichens is happening by pycnidiospores, conidia and oidea formation. And sexual reproduction, it is oogamy. Oogamy means oospore fusing with the sperm. So that is known as the oogamy. So when a motile male gamete fuses with a non-motile oospore or egg, such a type of sexual reproduction is known as oogamy. And here the sexual reproduction is oogamous type, and the sexual reproductive structures are known as ascogonium and antheridium. So in the ascogonium, spermatia are formed. So here, as I just mentioned, oogamy means the male gamete is motile and it fuses with the large immobile female gamete, which is known as the ovum. So coming into the sexual reproductive structure, ascogonium, the female sex organs in lichens is known as ascogonium. So when it is actually known as ascogonium means, previously we have seen that lichens are broadly divided into two types, right? Ascolichens and basidiolichens. When the fungal partner is when the fungal partner belongs to Ascomycota subclass, so then the female sex organ is known as the ascogonium. So this female sex organ is present in Ascomycetes fungi, and it grows from the ascogonium, which is a cup-like structure. So after that it fuses with the antheridium. So in spermatia means, already I have told that male gamete is non-motile, which is present in red algae, and it contains the fungi. So spermatia, it's nothing but a colorless cell, a single cell of a fungi. So lichens developed with spermagonia and spermatia. So here the reproductive parts are known as the ascogonium and spermatia. So ascogonium and antheridium, actually in the antheridia spermatia are present. Spermatia are nothing but the male gametes, which are like single cells and which are very active and they are motile. Ascogonium means it is a female reproductive structure. So it is formed in Ascomycota fungi. Here one important point we need to remember is that the vegetative body of the lichen, it is known as the thallus. So in the thallus, fungal component is not normally present. So reproduction mainly happens in lichens by fungi. Fungi only are responsible for the reproduction in lichens. So algae are mainly meant for the preparation of the food and photosynthesis, whereas the fungal part takes care of the reproduction in lichens. So here that is why, because the fungal part is mainly taking care of the reproduction, so that is why based on the fungal part, that is known as the ascogonium. Okay, so ascogonium is mainly based upon the fungal part. So this is about the sexual reproductive structures in the lichens. So now coming into the economic importance of lichens. So what are the, we have seen the external structure of the thallus, internal structure of the lichens, external structure of the lichens, what are the parts of the lichens, and then we have seen the vegetative reproduction of the lichens, asexual structures of the lichens, and sexual reproductive structure of the lichens in brief. And then we are going to the economic importance of lichens. So as you are seeing on the slide, so lichens play an important role in nitrogen fixation, and they are mainly the sources of the food, and they are mainly helpful in the biodegradation, and some of the lichens helpful in the preparation of dyes, and some of the lichens are helpful in the preparation of antibiotics, and some are useful as traditional medicine. Now we will see in detail. So role in nitrogen fixation. So mainly cyanobacteria, the algae component cyanobacteria, blue-green algae, they are involved in nitrogen fixation. Means lichen part, if the lichen part is composed of, in the lichen you already know two parts are present, right? One fungal part and one algal part. If the algal part is made up of cyanobacteria, then those lichens are involved in actively in nitrogen fixation. So nitrogen fixation increases the fertility of the soil. So thereby lichens are responsible for increasing the fertility of the soil indirectly by increasing the nitrogen fixation. So So next important use of the lichen is food. So lichens are important sources of the food. They are mainly useful in the preparation of various food products. So using these lichens, bread, pudding, soup or salad are being prepared. And coming to the names of the lichens which are useful in the preparation of food materials, let us see one by one. Citreria islandica, this is the lichen name. It is used as food in northern Europe. It is cooked as porridge, soup. It is used in the preparation of soup. It is used in the preparation of bread. It is used in the preparation of salads and puddings in northern Europe. The name of the lichen is Citreria islandica. And the next one is Bryoria fremontii. It is used in North America as food. So during famines, so people normally consume this Bryoria fremontii as food material. In China, lichens are used as food like Loberia, Isidiophyra and Lioshimure. So Thamnolia subiliformis and Lithariella cashmeriana. So all these lichens are used as food materials in China, and they are also used in the preparation of tea also. And then some of the lichens are used as fodder, means food material for cattle. For example, Cladonia rangiferina in Tundra and Citreria islandica in Iceland, and species of Lecannoria. So the nutritive value is very high due to the presence of lichenin, and they are used as the fodder. And some lichens, they are known as the earth flowers, means flower normally gives some sweet fragrance, right? So the lichens also, they generate some sweet fragrance, so that is why they are known as the earth flowers. So in some countries they are used in the preparation of, they uses the odor of the lichens in the preparation of tobacco products. And then some of the lichens are used in the biodegradation. For example, they degrade the polyester resins and are helpful in reducing the pollution of soil. And some lichens are useful in the preparation of perfumes and dyes. So lichens yield some secondary compounds, secondary metabolites and some pigments, and these pigments are used to dye wool, and they are also used in the preparation of perfumes and fragrances and dyes, colored substances, and these are also useful in the preparation of leather. So lichens' main important use is they are the bioindicators of pollution, mainly the crustose lichens, and they actually they are the indicators of the pollution, and these are the cost effective and they are very effective bioindicators of the air pollution and acid pollution. They mainly identify the sulfur pollution, sulfur compounds pollution very easily, especially crustose lichens. And then coming to the other importance of the lichens, antibiotics, means lichens produce metabolites, several metabolic products like antibiotics, and means antibiotics we already know. So medicinally they are very useful, and some lichens are useful in the preparation of antibiotics and antiseptics also. And some lichens are having so many medicinal values, like they cure the jaundice, fever, diarrhea, epilepsy, hydrophobia, so some skin diseases. So all these are cured by the lichens. So there are many of the lichens are used in the treatment of so many diseases. For example, so medicinal importance of lichens. So here see the lichen name and the diseases they are curing. So Loberia pulmonaria and Citreria islandica, they are used in treating respiratory diseases, particularly by TB, tuberculosis. Asnia barbata, it is used for strengthening hair and for uterine ailments, treating uterine diseases, uterus diseases. And Xanthar la parlitiana, it is used for treating jaundice. And Cladonia species are used for treating whooping cough. Peltigera canina, that is used for treating hydrophobia. Rosella montegni, it is used in angina, a serious heart disease. And Parmelia species are used for treating epilepsy, and species of Evernia, Cladonia and Coxiria, they are used to control fever. These are all the various medicinal importance of medicinal uses of lichens. Okay, so this is about the brief explanation about the lichens. So I hope you already are revising the important topics for the exams, and I hope this lichens PPT and this lichens presentation is useful to you. I mean we have discussed in today's class about the structure of lichens, types of lichens, forms of lichens, and the internal structure of the lichens, and about the economic importance of lichens, and also the various types of vegetative reproduction, vegetative reproductive structures like Isidia, Soredia, and then the sexual reproductive structures like picnidiospores, and also the sexual reproductive structures like Ascoponium, Spermatia and Antheridia. So with this I am winding up this presentation, students, and hope this will helpful to you, and be safe, stay in your houses. Okay, thank you for your participation in listening this presentation. Have a good day, guys.